Thanks for visiting discoverestevan.com. Nolan Cole with you, joined by Bruins head coach and GM Jason Tatarnic. A bit of a special feature interview for you here today because the Bruins head coach has reached 500 career wins in his long coaching career. So, Coach, congratulations on that. It happened last night with the 1-0 win over Kindersley. But why don't we, before we get to that, why don't we start? You got an interesting backdrop there behind you. So you've got kind of a illustration of you behind the bench and then some other pictures. Tell me about what you got going on behind you. I assume you're at home right now.
Yeah, I'm at home. Actually, there's a picture from one picture from my playing days. It was a winning goal for that allowed us to advance to European Championships when I was overseas. And then picture of Notre Dame where I spent some time, and then another picture, actually a picture from the Centennial Cup. Now Centennial Cup, RBC Cup with Woodstock. And actually, I have another picture to put up there right beside it from that as well. And then a picture of from Woodstock when I believe it was, my 200th when I was with them. So they gave me a real nice frame picture, and so that's up there too.
Right on. Okay, so let's get to this whole 500 win storyline because you mentioned it to me before Christmas there, and then you end up getting it last night against Kindersley. Had it been on your mind for a while? I mean, was it something you were thinking about? Are you happy to get it out of the way?
It's kind of funny. You don't really think about it until you get really close to that number. Because for the most part, for all the part, you're just concentrating winning hockey games for your organization, and that's the most important thing is concentrating on the season at hand and winning games. That's going to put you in a good place for that season, and then eventually those numbers add up, and then it was. A friend of mine reached out to me and said, "Hey, you're pretty close to 500," and I said, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And then, as you get closer, you're like, "Hey, get it over with, and let's move on."
Is it a special milestone for you? Is it a special number for you?
Well, it's not an easy number to get to, I guess. And in coaching, you can be a very good coach, but sometimes if you don't have the horses to get things done, those wins don't add up. So it's a combination of having some really good players, and I think you have to be a decent coach to achieve that, and then the organizations you're part of too, playing a big part of it too, and from scouts to just any staff members within that team. So it's a group effort. Because it's just not coaching. You have to build your team, and sometimes, most of the time, there's other people involved in that. So yeah, it's a neat accomplishment. I think it's hard to get to, and you have to coach for a while to get there. So hopefully, I have a few more years left in my coaching career.
And I imagine there's certain people who helped you get to where you are today as a coach, whether it be mentors you've had, players, family, friends, all that. I imagine there's a lot of people who helped you along the way.
Yeah, just even being a player, and when you decide to get in coaching, there's people that kind of push you into it, and like for me, I wasn't even going to coach junior hockey after I played. I helped out a bit, and I was more concentrated on being hired to the police force at that time, and I was hired in Toronto, and we went to my wife's hometown in Dryden, and they're relieving their coach at the time, and they were trying to talk me into it, but I was pretty set on being a police officer still, and eventually I made the decision just to try it and see how I liked it, and my wife kind of pushed me that way too, and so I did, and I kept doing it. So it's kind of just a path getting to coaching's a journey itself.
So when you were at the end of your playing career, coaching wasn't really on your radar. It just kind of developed after that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say coaching was never on my mind, but it was something I always thought I'd like to do, because I was always breaking games down, and I was a student of the game when I played, so was always analyzing things, and but at the time I was more focused on being hired as a police officer, and it kind of just came up. And once you get into it, it's I don't think people understand how much work and time goes into it. I've been very fortunate. No, my wife was really supportive. If I look back at our path and our journey, we're in Dryden, and then of course, as a coach, you do get fired, and so we were expecting our first child at the time, so it wasn't the greatest timing. And so I accepted a job in Humboldt as assistant coach, and the birth of our daughter Avery kind of got pushed back. It was supposed to happen just after Christmas, and it didn't happen until January 17th. So I was away from Humboldt during the trade deadline, and I was doing stuff on the phone, helping out with Dean, and then at that time, you have a newborn, and you make the decision. Now I'm going to move all the way to Woodstock, New Brunswick. So you were there for 8 years, and then that changes, and then now I'm going to move all the way to Chilliwack, BC, with 3 children and a wife. So you have to have a very understanding family. You have to have a supportive family to do these things for sure. And I'll get into it a little bit later about the whole, I guess the job part of it, and how it affects your family and stuff like that a little bit later on. But yeah, my girls have been really supportive. They've always been around the teams, and heck, I remember when we won in Woodstock the one year of the championship. It went into 4 overtime, so the guys were starving, and my wife with my kids went to McDonald's and went through the drive-through and brought back all the food for the guys to celebrate. And my middle daughter fell asleep with a chicken nugget in her mouth, I believe, was the story. So yeah, family's pretty important. They have to be understanding, and it's long hours. For example, the last road trip we just did, you're on the road to Battleford and the Kindersley, and you don't get back till about 5:30 in the morning last night. So I didn't see my kids before they woke up to go to school today. So there's some things that you miss for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess it's similar to players, right? Like players, as they go on into the pro ranks, they're moving around a lot, city to city, obviously during the year, but just in where they're playing, right? So I guess that's maybe something that the fans don't realize, is that the coaches often have to move around just as much to make it work, right? And it sounds like you've had a pretty supportive cast in that aspect.
Yeah, it's you hear the old term "hired to be fired," and no, it's a saying that I can't stand. Maybe I take it a little bit too personally, but it's someone's livelihood. They're supporting families. You know, to put that pressure. As a coach, you do have to accept some pressure in this job, but sometimes you hear the quote. It's usually to get rid of one person instead of 20 players, and I guess my thought process to that is, if I'm an owner of a very successful, corporation or a business, and I have numerous people working for me or underneath me, and I have a very successful general manager that has people working underneath him, and those people aren't doing their job to the best of their abilities, I don't think as a business person I'm going to fire that general manager. So I think it's just an easy thing to do at times, and I don't think people really realize the impact it has on people and their families. I guess I can use my last example. The last time I was fired in Chilliwack, it was you're done, and team vehicle back, this, and I'm at a rink, and my wife has to drag our 3 kids out of school to come pick me up from the rink because I was just let go. So they have to see that firsthand, and no, it's not an easy thing for young kids to see that and go through that experience. And they've set some roots into that community and made some really good friends, long lasting friends. And all of a sudden, what do we do now? So it's I think the mental health for players is very important. I think sometimes people forget about the coaches with the mental health aspect of it, and the pressures of just winning and winning and winning and winning. It takes a toll on people.
Well, and the junior A level, people a lot of times think about player development and the players going on, but the reality is at the junior A level, I mean, from a coaching perspective, it's really all about winning, is it not? So there is a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it's changed. The game's changed, players have changed, and I think the pressure to win has changed. At this level, I think it should be about development, but the coach has to have that support that it is going to be about development. And it's easier to develop players, and it's easier to be the great guy behind the bench and the nicest guy in the world when that's the focus. But when a certain point in the year, if your record's not great, there's rumors circling around that you might be relieved of your duties. It's not the best situation for anyone, the coach, the players, etc. So. Yeah, I just think, like I said, the game's changed, but I think also the whole structure's changed, and probably not for the best, in my opinion. Like when I played, a coach told you to do something, you just did it. Um, you know, Now players have a lot of questions, which is fine. Um, but when I played, like I said, we just kind of did what our coach did, and we bought in, and we just played, and we knew that coach would be around for a while as well too. Um, Now there's so many moving parts. You see coaches relieve. Um, I think also the pressures of winning, you see players traded away a little bit more often than they should be. Because you're all the time, we got to shake up the roster, we got to shake up the room, and I don't think that's the best thing either. So there's lots of stuff we could talk about, but you know, people make the impression that I want them to feel sorry for me. That's not the case, but there's a lot that goes into that people don't realize. Like we go on that road trip, for example, you're sleeping overnight, you're away from your family 48 plus hours, and then you still have to do your normal 9 to 5 part of the job the very next day throughout the week. So, it's very long hours, and you can take some time off the summer, but we all know that's where you build your team. So you can't take too much time off the summer, or you're going to be behind the 8 ball. So it's a grueling job, and I tell people all the time, really consider and really think about if that's something you want to get involved with, because there's more to it than you think.
Mm. Hey, we've got a lot of younger coaches in the SJHL this year. Braden Klamosko in Battlefords, he just got his 100th win in our game on Tuesday night there. There's a mix, but there's a few young coaches, and I'm curious what advice you would have for younger coaches in the game today, based on your experience.
Yeah, like I always tell people when they first get involved, just do it your way. You know, just do it your way, because then at the end of the day, you did it how you wanted to, and if it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, then that's fine too. But you know, you're going to be kept as a coach, or you're going to be fired either way. So you may as well do it the way you think's the best, and stick to your guns that way. With the new game, it's changing, and younger coaches are nice to see. I think they do a great job. I think Braden's he has been successful already. He's going to continue to be successful, and he's an excellent coach. So I'm sure he'll get to 500 quicker than I did. So, we always look. I'll look back and see how those guys are doing if I'm not involved anymore. And and it's a process. Always stick to the process. You're not going to win a championship in the first month. Sometimes you'll sway because things aren't going right, but stick to your plan, and don't take off on it. You have to believe in yourself and your plan, and go from there.
I know you're really focused on this season with the Centennial Cup, and you've obviously had a lot of success at the junior A level. Do you still have aspirations to maybe coach at one level higher, or are you content with kind of building teams and doing it your way here at the junior A level? Have you thought about that at all?
No, I've had some opportunities over the years to advance, and the timing for me at the timing wasn't right. Either I just moved to a location, that after a year, and an opportunity came up, and I just didn't think it was fair to my family to move and move again, and that's happened to me like 3 times. So Um, if something comes up, I'll have to look at it at this stage. Um, I think I think I've proven myself at this level. Now it's no different than players. I always tell players you only have to challenge yourself. Um, so I think if something came up, I'd look at it because I think like I said, I've proven myself at this level, and you should always challenge yourself. So I'd have to really look at it.
Well, and that's one of the other aspects as well, right? Is with the family life, it's not always as simple as going on to the next level because there's obviously other factors at play, right? And that's something else that people on the outside might not realize as well.
No, like for example, I have a family, and for me, when I first started coaching, my wife started working as well. She was the rec programmer in town where we were, so she had a really good job. And so when I got fired, it wasn't a big deal. My wife was still working, and there's no pressure that way. Um, and then we have our first child, and we get to Woodstock, and we have our second child and our third child. And it was important for us, for Sarah, to stay at home with our kids at a young age to develop them. And she did a great job with our kids. And we wanted to raise our kids a certain way and develop our kids into certain types of a certain character that we want our kids to have. And she did a great job with that. And so when you're the sorry, the person of the main income source, um, you have to look at what's best for your family. And it might be you do get an opportunity to move up to a higher level, but the pay scale is not going to be able to support your family. So that might influence your decision, or you might have to go as an assistant coach first. Are you willing to do that? So there's different scenarios that come into it, but for people, they're going to have to consider financial situations. Is it the right fit for them? Are they only comfortable being a coach and GM? Are they comfortable going as a coach and giving the GM duties to someone else? So, there's a few things that come into play.
For sure, yeah. Hey, I know you've got the 400 win plaque in your office. Will they be making a 500 plaque for you?
Oh, I don't know. What if I could do what Woodstock did for me, I'd probably do that. It was no, it was a real nice gesture by the Woodstock Slammers and Andrew McKean. Um, I thought they did that pretty right how they did it, and they showed how appreciative they were. So I think with Estevan, I really like the SJHL. I have a big place for it in my mind, is in terms of a special league. The players that play in it, the way they play. So doing it in Estevan was pretty neat, and I was glad to do it in Estevan. And I'm very happy to do it with the players that we have. Like they're a good group. They're all good kids. I don't think there's one kid in that team that I would take away from our group this year. They all contribute in different ways, and the first thing with us is just be a good kid, and we have that right now. So it was pretty special to do it with this group.
And I know you got the game puck last night, so I imagine you'll be keeping that. But now that it's out of the way, Coach, I guess now you can just kind of focus on the second half here. And obviously, you're involved in a tight race with Humboldt for first place. So I imagine now the focus just shifts to winning hockey games again.
Yeah, like the guys. I grabbed the game puck actually to give it to Cam for a shutout because I thought he played really good last night, and there was a few pucks given out. And same thing I told our guys was, it's great to get the 500th win, but more importantly, that win put us, 1 point behind Humboldt in that race. So that's the most important thing. We're focused to continue to in our winning ways, and we're really going to bear down the second half with we have a goal in mind and we want to achieve it, and we're going to do everything we can to get there.